Hello and welcome to panel debate How will AI change healthcare in the next years?
My name is Kim Hedberg and I work as a manager of strategy and offering at Stratiteq.
And my name is Goran Vukšić and I work as technical manager for Stratiteq. We are here to announce AI for Healthcare Hackathon, and we will have this interesting panel afterwards. So just a few quick words about upcoming hackathon. It is organized together with Microsoft, and our main partners are Nvidia, SAS, and Women in AI. It is also organized together with leading hospitals and organizations across Europe, which provide really interesting challenges to the hackathon. It will take place from April 21st until May 15. So how it will look like? Interested teams should register for the hackathon before the deadline, April 10th. You should join live panels, this one, and we have one next week. And so hopefully you are watching. If you are not watching, recording will be available after this session, so you can hear what it was about. We will notify 20 selected teams that are selected for the hackathon, and we will kick off on April 21st, which is World Innovation Day, and it's the perfect day to kick off the hackathon, right? So. Hackathon participants will join us for the live stream, and they will meet the mentors. They will have opportunity to ask those mentors questions, to deep dive into challenges, into data provided, and figure out their idea how they want to tackle it and shape the idea with help of mentors. We will touch base again on April 28th and on May 5th. So every week we touch base again in same concept, live stream. Mentors are available so teams can reach out and ask and can follow up on progress and maybe clear some blockers they have in solving these challenges. So teams should submit their project until May 12th, and 3 days later on May 15 we will have live stream with the winner announcement. And that's not where the story stops, right? For those projects, they will have, for the winning projects, they will have opportunity to continue working on these projects in cooperation with hospitals or partners and so on. Some prizes are already listed, some you can see on the hackathon webpage. Okay, so what challenges do we have?
Yeah, this is exciting. I love hackathons when we have real use cases to solve. So the first one is AI applied to medical imaging. So medical images are very important in the diagnostic phase of many diseases, and therefore leveraging AI tools to help clinicians in reading clinical images can dramatically increase the efficiency of the process as well as its accuracy. We would like to see how AI can help extracting information from medical images that represent a pathological a tissue or an organ, for example, by leveraging the open source InnerEye deep learning toolkit or with the use of Nvidia Clara imaging toolkit.
Great, sounds really interesting. Second one is about predictive medicine. To be able to predict what will happen in the future to both an individual patient or the population, clinicians need to analyze and combine a huge variety of data, both structured and unstructured. We would like to see, for example, how it's possible to obtain predictive models of evolution of the disease, epidemiological models, information on the response to the various treatments applied, knowledge of virus for the creation of a vaccine, and socio-demographic data on the impact on the population of the COVID-19 virus, or predict the likelihood of a rare disease.
And last but not least, we want to empower patients. So patients often struggle to understand their medical reports because they don't have the necessary knowledge to understand the terminology. We would like to see how technology can help in simplifying the complexity of medical terminology and turn it into everyday language. for example, by using the Medical Jargon Buster project and taking that to the next level.
Great. So, those challenges will be solved with some solutions, hopefully interesting one, innovative one.
Looking forward to the solutions,
yeah.
Very exciting.
On the hackathon. And then those solutions will be judged on the following criteria. So there is four criteria: impact, feasibility, implementation, and innovation. Impact: how much impact would the solution have in solving the challenges presented? So is it solving only that challenge, or is it solving some potentially more challenges globally, right? Feasibility: is the solution realistic in terms of technical, legal, or other aspects? Implementation: how much was done during the hackathon in terms of making the real software solution, maybe even hardware, who knows what teams bring. And innovation: is the solution innovative and creative? Is it using the latest technologies? So teams applying will be participating, solving, making the solutions for these challenges, will be judged on these criteria, and we will see the winners. So we are starting with our panel. How will AI change healthcare in the next years? And first we would like to bring on screen Veronica from Microsoft.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So, Veronica.
I'm pleased to be here. It's really an important moment for us, this kickoff.
Yeah, it's a really interesting cases. I'm impressed by it feels, I would like to hack. I wish I could. But it's really interesting cases and an important one.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. So, Veronica, could you just give us a brief introduction to who you are and what your role is at Microsoft?
Sure. So, Veronica Jager, I'm in Microsoft since 6 years, and since 3 years and a half, I'm part of the Western Europe Health team as Director of Industry Solution for Healthcare. This means that I work only with healthcare institutions across Europe and our healthcare partners. And this is my passion, I would say. So it's really a meaningful job for me.
I can imagine. So you know the participating hospitals very well and institutions, of course. So why was it important for Microsoft to organize this hackathon? Why are you doing this?
So I think I will come to the story this hackathon started later, but why is it important for us? It's important because innovation can really, technological innovation can really help our society to progress. Of course, it's not the only ingredient. You need to have other, like ethical approach to the solution of problems, etc. But of course, it's an important component, and we have seen this very strongly over the last 12 months. How technology has helped overcoming some of the challenges that we have been facing. So with this hackathon, we really want to show what innovation is in healthcare, but not only. So if I may jump to the objectives that we had at the very beginning is to show to clinicians basically what is possible today with technology, because clinicians, we do not pretend them to be experts in technology-related topics. They have other things to do. They have studied different topics. But increasingly today, we need to have a blending of different competencies. We need to have the clinical domain, the technological domain, and to show what is possible with technology is a way to accelerate the understanding and of the art of the possible for them. The second objective is to create opportunities for organizations across Europe to collaborate, because we can solve really tough challenges only if we join forces, and not only between healthcare institutions, but also with the technological companies. So if we all work together towards the same objectives, we have more chances to solve them, the challenges that we are facing. And the third is really to accelerate the adoption of innovation in the clinical settings, because we all know that, of course, hospitals, healthcare institutions, they are facing a number of challenges. And sometimes to bring innovation to life, to adopt innovation in the clinical setting is a complex process. So by bringing in startups, developers into the game, we hope we will be able to really speed up this process.
Yeah, thanks. I think, I believe that in the healthcare area, there are really lots of possibilities as well for technology. I think we're really just in the beginning of how to approach it. And just as you said as well, during the last year, I think we've seen several examples of how to handle the pandemic, for example, where we've had the use of digital solutions as well. So what are your expectations on the hackathon then?
So my expectation is really to achieve those objectives. Is really not to have a fantastic hackathon with a lot of teams participating, applying and participating and developing solutions, but to have a continuum and see those solutions being further developed by the teams together with the hospitals, with the support of the partners, to really make it real, and to show not only to clinicians but also to the government that we need to work all together to solve the challenges that we are facing. And we have some real examples over the last few months of really tough challenges that are still open questions for all of us.
Yeah, and I believe that showing solutions is a good way to get people to understand what's actually possible to do. Seeing is a very strong believing part, so to say. So that's.
And I would say, if I may, that by having all these panelists here today with us, we already achieved one important milestone, that is putting together, creating a community of clinician hospitals, healthcare institutions, and technological companies and organizations. So it's really a good start, I would say.
The journey has started. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we move to our main partners, and we will have a chat with Rob from Nvidia. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello. So could you give us a quick introduction?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Rob. I'm NVIDIA's Developer Relations and Alliance Manager for Healthcare in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. I joined NVIDIA last year. Prior to that, I've spent a little over 10 years as an NHS doctor, specializing in adult cardiology, with a computer science background and a very strong interest in medical AI. I'm passionate about its ability to transform healthcare, so very excited about this event, and I think today's theme is very fitting.
Nice.
Sound like the perfect person to have in this hackathon as a partner.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Definitely. So could you give us, I know that NVIDIA is doing a lot in this field, like could you give us some introduction, quick overview of what's going on in healthcare?
Yeah, absolutely. So NVIDIA, as you'll be aware, has transformed over the last 10 years. They used to be known as a video games card manufacturer, and now NVIDIA is the world's leading accelerated computing platform, because so many great scientific applications use GPUs. And most importantly for today, of course, AI, deep learning, and deep learning in healthcare. So we're investing heavily in healthcare. We have a healthcare platform that extends right up into the healthcare stack, starting from the GPU, building up through the basic layers, scientific computing on a GPU with a layer you call CUDA, then to the frameworks that the participants will be very familiar with, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and right up into applications that focus on AI and medical imaging, like our Clara Imaging Toolkit or the MONAI open source framework that we're a founder of. We're working in NLP, and biomedical NLP specifically. We're working in genomics, in drug discovery, molecular dynamics simulations, cryo-electron microscopy. So we're very, very much invested in this area. The most exciting thing from my perspective that's happened in the last 6 months is we've just built the UK's largest supercomputer that's going to be dedicated exclusively to healthcare research. So a big part of my job, and the thing that I have to pinch myself in the mornings about because it's so great, is that I get to work with world-leading partners like AstraZeneca, GSK, King's College London, the NHS, Oxford Nanopore. I won't bore you with a longer list, but domain experts who are doing incredible innovative things in the healthcare space. I get to work with them and say, right, how do we bring huge-scale computing to the most pressing needs that you see in your specific area, and how do we do something really innovative and blue sky in that space? And we're just in the process of running the first projects at the moment, so you'll be hearing about them later in the year for sure. But it's wonderful. It's a great opportunity to really demonstrate the value of what happens when you get different people together, as you guys have just said, industry, researchers, clinicians and healthcare providers. It's at the interface where those different and very deep levels of expertise, but very disparate and sort of separate levels of expertise, where they meet and join up together. That's where the exciting things happen, and that's what I'm so excited about for this hackathon.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's great to have you as partner, and bringing your expertise and helping out as mentors to those teams will definitely help make some really nice solutions, and we look forward to it. You also have one upcoming event now next week. Feel free to say it. I know you will announce a lot of advancements like every year. It's GTC.
Yeah. Thanks for the lead in there. Yes, I was hoping to plug GTC, but I didn't want to crowbar it in. So next week is our GTC conference. This is one of the biggest events in AI generally. We've got just an amazing lineup of speakers, and as you say, we always save a few really big announcements about what's coming next down the tracks. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's free to register this time around because it's virtual. There are no on-site costs, so you can register completely free, or you can watch the sessions at the time of your choosing. They'll be pre-recorded, so you can watch them later. But there is going to be some stuff that's going to be really a glimpse of the future of AI in general, and a glimpse of the future of AI in healthcare. Some of the stuff is unbelievably exciting, so I would encourage everyone to get signed up for that this week, as you say, because it starts on Monday.
Sounds like a great idea.
Perfect timing. Before the hackathon, maybe we can implement teams can implement parts of this.
Exactly.
Future coming solutions already.
Get some inspiration at least.
What are your expectations from the hackathon?
So I think my expectations are that I think this hackathon is going to be really nicely problem focused because we've got those three distinct areas, and I think those areas play nicely into the themes of what how we're seeing AI make a difference in healthcare. So I'd like to see a problem focused approach, really innovative solutions, new solutions that are again born of the crossover expertise when we get clinicians and technologists together in a room. Perhaps most of all, I'd like to see relationships come out of this. I'd like people to make contacts that they keep up and people lean on each other and exchange ideas. That to me is the biggest win of this whole event.
Yep.
Yep. Nice. Great. Thank you very much for joining us today. We need to move on with the program. So
next we have Mark from SAS.
Hey guys. Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
So Mark, could you give us a brief introduction to yourself and your role, please?
Absolutely. So my name is Mark Lambrecht. I'm the director of Global Health and Life Sciences Practice at SAS. I'm part of the Global Healthcare Life Sciences team at SAS. SAS is a very large analytics provider. We've been providing analytics solutions to pharmaceutical companies and healthcare organizations for over 4 decades. And I'm helping to ensure that we keep evolving and are part of the ecosystem out there of healthcare organizations, of technological partners, and of pharmaceutical companies as such.
Yeah. So you're organizing a lot of projects on your own as well within healthcare. Could you highlight some of them?
Yeah, absolutely. And so there is no medicine, for example, that gets to market without organizations and pharmaceutical manufacturers using our technology to see if it impacts for the patient. Healthcare providers have used SAS, for example, and SAS consists of an open technology using open source and our own trusted scalable analytics for looking at the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic at hospitals. Last year, we've helped many governments and global organizations over the last year as well to mitigate the impact of the pandemic. And so really trying to make sure that we drive innovation to improve lives, help improve lives, and empower innovation for patients. And clearly, this is a perfect moment where data is exploding, technology is exploding, where cloud capabilities come together. And it's a fascinating era for me, trained as a bioscience genetic engineer, to be playing here in this domain and to be playing along with all of these partners.
Yeah. So what are your expectations on the hackathon? What do you hope that will come out of it?
Well, there's a couple of things, and I think Veronica already mentioned it nicely. The ability to look at how AI can really transform healthcare. It's my conviction that AI is not a product or a bolt-on to the healthcare system. It's something that will really change healthcare from the inside out. I've seen this with bioinformatics 20 years ago, where it completely revolutionized how biology was being looked at. I think we will also have the ability to convince the public opinion that there's a visible impact of AI, but also a non-visible impact into how we can improve the experience of patients and how we can improve how that runs. And it is National Public Health Week this week, so I think this hackathon will also help us to move from that much needed movement from sick care to healthcare and really allow clinicians to come in because we need them. These AI projects are not easy, and I think the hackathon will make it one step easier again, but they are in need of interdisciplinary experts. And I think a hackathon like this just shows that you can bring people together and do so much more in terms of how analytics can drive actionable insights for patients, for clinicians, for anyone that really needs to benefit from these fantastic technologies. I just want to talk about one particular aspect, for example, the ability of robotic surgery and looking at that and being able to use AI to drive augmented reality for physicians or to help clinicians make decisions on patients that have lesions and have cancer patients, and the ability of deep learning, for example, capabilities to do that. And this is one of the tracks that we're looking at in this hackathon. So I'm really looking forward to the outcome of the experiments here.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you will bring really good mentors to the hackathon as well, so you can help the participants create as good solutions as possible during the 3-week time there is.
Absolutely, and we have our analysts, we have our statisticians, data scientists ready. We have people with clinical background as well. We're eager to help them and we're eager to collaborate. We understand as SAS that no single company or no single organization can do this by themselves. And so it was said before, but I will repeat it. For us, it is crucial to be evolving where we need to help the patient, where we need to help healthcare providers. So we're ready for it. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have Veronica from Women in AI next.
Hi, everyone.
Hello and welcome.
Hi.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. So, quick introduction.
I'm Veronica. I'm the research lead for Women in AI in Sweden. Women in AI is a global nonprofit working towards gender-inclusive AI that benefits global society. Our mission is to increase female representation in AI We have several programs. The research aspect is to actually increase the number of women researchers in AI to support them and to also include their expertise in important topics such as healthcare. I'm also a scientist. I conducted research in how data science can impact design of large-scale systems such as healthcare and transport.
Great. It's great to have you as a partner to improve diversity of this hackathon. Yeah. We are really happy about it. And from your side, like, what are your expectations from the hackathon?
We are also really happy to be partners here, and I think that it's amazing that you thought about the diversity aspect of it and included it in the whole process. For us, like Veronica also said, collaboration is key. I'm really curious to see what different expertise and different viewpoints, what kind of hacks that they will produce, and how is the inclusivity aspect included in this hackathon itself. Because we are aware of research in how women's issues are neglected. So perhaps it's not a very technologically advanced goal, but it is nonetheless very much needed. I'm also very curious to see how the solutions are scaled, how people think about scaling of the hacks that they have made and how concrete they are. So it's very much in line with the other partners.
Yeah.
You're also the judge on this hackathon, and you were included in some hackathons previously, as I know. So maybe some suggestion to participating team, what they should do, how they should prepare, or what kind of skills they should have, in your opinion.
I think that's a really good question. I think open-mindedness is the key thing to bring here in the hackathon. I think initially also allow yourself, because you have significant time, allow yourself to brainstorm. Don't get fixed onto an idea. Look at the different technologies, look at the different possibilities, and allow yourself to pivot. And really take advantage of the mentors from these fabulous partner institutions. So openness, brainstorm a lot more, and talk to mentors.
Yeah,
very good tips. I think you touch upon a really important thing as well in terms of diversity. Not only gender-wise, but also from a skill perspective. That it's important to try to find a team that has different skills. It could be design, it could be architecture, it could be whatever actually, but also the business side, or if the business then is medical side in this way. But I think it's good to look for a mix of people.
Yep, very much.
Definitely.
Yep. Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Yep.
And we go to Sally Frank.
Hi there.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So could you please introduce yourself?
I'd be happy to. Thank you. So my name is Sally Frank. I'm the worldwide lead for Health and Life Sciences on the Microsoft for Startups team. And it's an organization dedicated to helping early stage businesses grow and scale. And I joined the team in December. Prior to that, I was working in IoT as it relates to health and life sciences. And what's really interesting is that even in my IoT role at Microsoft, I was really compelled by some of the interesting startups that were being generated in that particular segment. And I remember one of the other speakers talking about, not only AI, but surgical intelligence and what's being done there. And so all of that kind of prepared me to take on this role to help these early stage companies really grow and realize their visions to ostensibly, help all of us in our goals to provide better care at less cost.
So Microsoft for Startups, what is it and why does it matter? What do you want to achieve?
Yes, so interestingly, Microsoft for Startups has been around for quite some time, but in the recent months, probably over the last year, we've really gone from like, here's a bunch of credits so you can help build your solution, to an environment where we really want to be more I guess, more responsive to what the startups actually need beyond some credits. So when we think about the program, the Microsoft for Startups program, it really revolves around 3 pillars. The first one is business acceleration. How can we help you build your business model, build a cloud model? How can we help you build a go-to-market strategy? How do we take some of the unique characteristics of, say, health and life sciences industry and help you understand the unique characteristics of the industry and some of the regulatory issues that you need to be aware of? The second pillar focuses on technical excellence. How can we make sure that the architecture that you've built, the strategy that you have, is really scalable and extensible? How do we make sure that while it works for a few customers, in 10 months or 10 years, it's still viable for hundreds or thousands of customers? And then the third part is around commercial partnership. And how do we help you bring your solution to market? How do we help you make connections, whether it's a partner-to-partner connection, whether it's a startup to customer connection? So those are really the 3 pillars of the program. And of course, overarchingly in that whole approach is the unique characteristics of the health and life sciences industries.
Yeah. So how do you see innovation in healthcare increasing, and how do we accelerate it even more?
Well, I think, having all lived through the pandemic, we've seen both the good and bad of our current healthcare models. So if we look from an innovation perspective and we look at the positives, we look at how quickly virtual health was adopted, how quickly we were doing virtual visits and telehealth in areas that we weren't currently doing them, how quickly we came up with a way to vaccinate large scales of people and then scale that out to a variety of populations. But what it also underscored is some of the long-standing issues with our health delivery system, specifically on equity, health equity. So, looking at that on a local level as well as a global level, who's not able to take advantage of virtual health, who's not getting the vaccine as quickly as we would like. So when we look at innovation and we look at how it could affect how we deliver healthcare and patient outcomes, not only do we have to look at the really cool technology, like how do we do surgery better, how do we use AI to diagnose and provide insight into the best treatment plans, but we also have to look at those tools and how it allows us to reach people that have previously not had access to healthcare in a meaningful way. So I think as we look at the innovation landscape, we have opportunity to fill gaps and continue to innovate in areas that have traditionally been underserved. And this goes back to, even getting women involved in these types of hackathons. So there's a variety of ways that using these devices like hackathons and opening up the perspective, we have an opportunity to build on the momentum that we have and fill gaps that still exist today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's good to have, again, the variety of people that come from different backgrounds as well, where you might come from different countries and have different views on what healthcare is and what good healthcare is, for example. So I believe that's a diversity, again, helps, so to say. And I'm assuming that the Microsoft startups will be perfect for our winning participants to continue working on the ideas that come up during the hackathon.
Absolutely. So one of the things that's important to stress is that we work with organizations that are in the ideation stage, in the minimum viable product stage, as well as post-product market fit. So for those folks that come up with a great idea during the hackathon and really want to build a path to commercialization, the Microsoft for Startups program can be a really good home for them.
Perfect. So thank you so much for joining, Sally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are moving on to partnering hospitals and organizations. And first we will have Sanitas, Caesar from Sanitas. Hello.
Hi.
Hi everyone.
Nice to have you here. So would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. It's a real pleasure being here to talk about this great topic because I'm a doctor, I'm an internal medicine specialist, but also the medical director at the digital hospital at Sanitas in Spain. And we are really focused on telemedicine and AI.
Perfect.
Nice. So could you give us a bit more overview of your organization, hospital?
Yes, of course, a pleasure. The digital hospital at Sanitas is a really telehealth platform that mainly offers digital consultations and telemonitoring to our nearly 2 million customers in Spain with more than 3,000 doctors of all specialties. To get you an idea of the volume, last year we did more than 500,000 video consultations with peaks of 5,000 a day. So this is why we are strongly using AI, trying to improve the user's health and experience with telemedicine, and also to maintain this continuity of care, looking for more preventive of precise medicine.
Nice. So you are also doing Data for Good initiative?
Yes, of course. This is why we are.
So what other main projects are you driving where AI can be instrumental in providing better care services to citizens?
Yeah. Besides this Data for Good, yes, we have few AI algorithms to improve telemedicine as well. For example, an AI is to analyze all this data from wearables to our connected health remote monitoring platform. We have hundreds of patients connected to our medical team through our app using wearables. And in case of detecting any clinical deterioration, the medical team receive an alert that allows them to solve the problem. Another example, for example, to improve the telemonitoring and video consultations is a new algorithm imperative to measure vital signs such as heart rate or even blood pressure through remote facial photoplethysmography, like a selfie video, directly using our app. Or another AI to analyze skin problems through our app, or another really useful for our doctors, for example, is an AI to transcribe speech to text while using the electronic health records. And finally, we have a chatbot with a digital human we use for citation, triage, and other functions. Last year, attended almost 1 million conversations. And this bot is also designed to deliver psychological support. So last year has done thousands of psychological evaluations, online mindfulness sessions, managed thousands of appointments with the specialists to handle more serious issues.
Interesting to see how you were able to maybe reach citizens that don't have access to it as nearly as others, for example. I can imagine that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
So what are your expectations? What kind of solutions you would like to see for which challenges?
Well, as you said, we've joined this hackathon in this predictive medicine challenge with our open data COVID for the Sanitas Data for Good initiative. This is a social responsibility and data initiative with our main goal is returning value to society with data. And the creation of partnership, you were talking about that before, to join efforts, data, innovation, and to improve the level of health to our society that I strongly believe this hackathon will achieve. And we already have teams building innovative AI solutions through our secure anonymized data on our COVID patients, already investigating this impact on the virus on other diseases, epidemiological models, prognosis biomarkers, and of course, treatment efficacy. So these are also our expectations of this hackathon, and I hope our data will help to create these new solutions to tackle this pandemic and improving the management of our patients.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We hope so.
So thank you so much for joining.
Pleasure, thanks.
So let's move over to HM Hospitals, Jose Maria. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Jose Maria, that was fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
So could you please let us know who you are?
Sure, so I'm Jose Maria Castellano. Like Rob here, I'm a cardiologist. I'm the scientific director for HM Group. HM Hospitals Group is a chain of private hospitals. We have 17 hospitals across various regions of Spain, and all 17 hospitals share the same EHR IT platform. And so with COVID, we were the first group, to the best of my knowledge, I think we're the first group worldwide to share the COVID data save lives. We opened the data set for everyone to use it in advancing our knowledge on the disease on April 25th. So just, close to one year ago. And ever since, we've shared it with over 400 institutions in over 30 countries. And for the past year, I'm a clinical cardiologist, I'm a clinical researcher. But like Veronica said, who, by the way, thank you so much for organizing this and congratulations. I think you've already, like you said, achieved some of the goals. So for the past year, I've been really talking to engineers, data scientists, computer scientists, and it's just been an outstanding year of collaborations, some of which we have already published, some of which we are about to publish. We have a fantastic collaboration with MIT based on a visual algorithm, predictive models based on the ER chest X-ray. Will come out next month, and it's just been really an outstanding year. I think, big challenges disguise big opportunities, and probably COVID has brought about and has been a catalyst for us to realize the opportunities, the benefits, and I think we're all here share the sensation that we're at the brink of something happening, something new, and that we certainly want to be part of it, and very thrilled to be here. So thank you so much.
Yeah. So what are your expectations on the hackathon? Which challenge are you selecting, so to say?
So already, like Veronica mentioned too, I think this has brought together sharing data. So open data sharing, we've realized is a rare occasion, is a rare instance. And I think we've met, all the hospitals we are here because we have shared our data with society in order to improve our knowledge of COVID in this case. But we're already moving along in sharing oncological data with HM hospitals. Again, this has been a catalyst for us to realize and to move on to a new era.
Yeah.
The challenge is really, I've already been working with a handful of engineers for over a year. So I think with COVID now, we're entering a new phase. We're transitioning with the vaccination. The disease is going to change. And there are new questions that we're going to have to confirm, which we thought we knew. And there are new questions we're going to have to ask ourselves. So predictive models in terms of who's going to get sick, who's been getting sick, what treatments have been working better for which patients, at what stage of the disease may help take care of those patients that may still be getting sick despite vaccination.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be outstanding. I hope I get surprised. I am sure I'll get very surprised, and I'm sure we'll come up with ideas that we haven't thought of despite having been working on it for a year. So very excited for what's about to come.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
So the Data for Good initiative, that includes data that would cover other areas than maybe just for COVID as well, even if that's been sort of the main topic for the year, of course.
Sure. So this was called COVID Data Save Lives, and we are now working with Microsoft, in fact, on an AI solution for optimizing treatment for cancer patients. We're doing a pilot on colorectal cancer. Once we see how that works, we're going to open that data to the community as well. And one thing we're doing, which I think should be a topic of discussion, and I think some of my colleagues have mentioned, is how you validate the use of the algorithms resulting from these initiatives. And I think the FDA is already talking about which solutions are we going to approve based on how you validate the use of the solutions. And we as clinical researchers are very interested in piloting back into the hospital whatever algorithms, whatever solutions we can come up with, and then truly demonstrate on how do oncologists, expert group of oncologists, treat colorectal patient cancers without the AI solution as compared to a similar group of oncologists with the solution, and how does that impact clinical outcomes? I mean, hard clinical outcomes. And that's, I think, the question we need to answer in order to also get the politicians, be in the radar of impacting and really, bringing down the solutions on AI. One last thing, one last message is that the next generation funding in healthcare is going to be mainly directed towards digitalization of health. Certainly in Spain, it's going to be the case. And I think, again, we are a rare group in that we already have all the hospitals sharing the same, vocabulary. That is not the case for many of the hospitals or the communities or the national system in Spain. And this is going to be an opportunity, I think, to bring us all together so we can share more data and come up with more solutions.
Yeah, sounds good. So thank you so much for participating in the hackathon.
Thank you for inviting us. Thanks so much.
We are moving on. San Raffaele, we have Carlo Tachetti joining us.
Hi everyone. Thanks for inviting me.
So could you give us a quick introduction, please?
Yes, I'm Carlo Tachetti. I'm a medical doctor and oncologist as a background, and I work for San Raffaele Hospital. San Raffaele Hospital is one of the largest private hospitals in Italy, and is part of one of the biggest health groups, San Donato Group in Europe, and is also a university hospital. So within this hospital, I'm professor at the university and director of the Experimental Imaging Center of San Raffaele.
Nice. So could you please describe the current projects where San Raffaele is leveraging AI to provide clinicians with the support in their decision-making process, and what has been your experience so far?
Yes, thank you very much for this question. As I told you, I'm an oncologist as background, but as many of us were diverted our interest into COVID because of this pandemic area. So one of the things we started to do, thanks also to the collaboration with Microsoft and Nvidia, was to develop an AI platform to score at the early symptoms of COVID-19 in early symptomatic patients for COVID-19, the prognostic score for these patients. So we are now able to define which patients are actually not going to develop a severe form of the disease, so that they can be cured at home with, of course, home care. And they can also, we can also score instead on the other side, patients that will develop a severe form, so that we can in advance plan resources such as the hospital location and intensive care. And this has been a big challenge, and based on that, we are now developing a new platform to respond some questions related to lung cancer, and mostly prognostic and therapeutic assessment of patients with lung cancer, which is also part of our hackathon proposal for this event.
Nice. It's it's interesting challenge, and I believe we will see a lot of interesting solutions there, proposals. What are your expectations, and what kind of solutions you would like to see at the hackathon?
Well, I of course agree with most of what has been already said, but I'm quite selfish in this. I would say that what I would like to is meet expertises and engage collaborations with experts. So I have questions I want to answer before retiring, but questions are adding up and the queue is long. So I would like really to meet as much as possible expertises to answer some of these questions.
Yeah, and hopefully like this technology nowadays can help in answering those, and that's what hackathon is about, to figure out what technology can achieve. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thanks. So we move over to Basel University Hospital, to Bram Stiltjes.
Yes, hey, good evening, and thanks for inviting me here.
Thanks for joining us. So could you please give us a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Bram. I'm a radiologist by training medically, and I have a PhD in computer science, mainly also in medical image analysis. And I've joined the Basel University Hospital about 6 years ago, moving from a, let's say, more academic career towards a career where I like to focus on implementation. So to be disrespectful, for me, all the academic publications we still make are a waste product of trying to get things into clinics. Basel University Hospital is a tertiary hospital, so it's a typical university referral hospital in the northwest of Switzerland. And in the hospital, I'm the vice chair of research in radiology, and I'm heading the R&D department of our central IT department.
Okay, so we know you have a well-established process for moving research innovation into a clinical setting, and I can hear that you're very passionate about that question as well. Can you describe how you manage that overall process of innovation adoption?
Yeah, sure. So I think it was brought on by many of the people before me that one of the main problems we have is that there's so much difference in expertise and there are big gaps, both in terms of expertise, but also in terms of goals. Treating patients is different from trying to get a startup going and also running a multinational. Yeah. And I need all of them to work to make my hospital better. And what we did to tackle that is to create, let's say, a bridging team. So you could call it, let's say, it could be part of the hackathon. We are about 25 people. So they're pathologists, radiologists, oncologists, and people with a background in mathematics, physics, and informatics that try to, on the one hand, interlink with companies or academic partners that have prototypes. And in the case that nobody has something useful, we build our own working prototypes to convince clinicians that they need to work differently. And on the other hand, also convince companies that they have to make different products. Yeah. And we try to engage more and more, let's say, companies of different scale in early development with us, so that they don't develop something that is really fancy but does not help what we need.
Yeah. So what have your lessons learned been so far? Where are the biggest challenges and what is the best sort of the main advantages?
Yeah, I made some notes, but when I hear everybody talk, I get these spontaneous ideas. So I was a bit smiling about actually Rob's comment of the supercomputer, and then thinking that the NHS is still the biggest fax ordering institute in the world. And I think that's one of the big challenges. And I don't want to be kind of a party pooper here with AI in medicine. But I think people are not serious about the data quality that we regularly have in medicine. And that's really a blocking factor. Yeah. And I think we have to be serious about that. The positive thing, in a sense, is the pressure that we have on a healthcare system. That we have to do much more and more for less and less money. Yeah. So this pressure kind of counteracts the whole feeling that a lot of my colleagues have that they don't want to be replaced by algorithms. And the fact is that because of the lack of doctors and this flood of data, we cannot do it in good quality on our own anymore. So all this together, I think, puts us, in a sense, under enough pressure to really change something. And I think that's also, so that's a challenge and an opportunity, I think, at the same time.
Yeah. I spoke to a person about who was introducing or making a company more data-driven, a large enterprise. And he was talking about the same struggle of change that you're basically speaking about. And he was saying, let's try to find a corporation where humans are not doing the work of computers. Yep. So trying to view it a bit differently, because right now maybe we're scared of the wrong thing, so to say.
Yeah, and it's not smart to be scared, because it's going to come one way or the other. Yeah. Maybe some people think it's going to come faster and it may be slower, but it's not stoppable in a sense. And it's like, I think implicitly we as doctors make the decision that if we exclude it, that we decrease the quality of our work.
Yeah.
Because we do more analysis of more data, integration of more data for clinical decision making, with at best the same amount of people, sometimes even less people. So if we ignore things that can help us, we implicitly say, okay, we are going to deliver worse quality. And that's a harsh statement, but I think it's the truth. And I think that's what we need to think about.
Yeah.
And do we want that, or do we want to really seriously embrace technology that can help us, well, at least maintain quality at the same cost or something like this?
So what are you looking for? What are your expectations of the hackathon?
Yeah, that's manifold, I would say. But I think what is a real chance, and that came up a little bit as well, is that maybe we can convince the public that this is not a scary thing to do, that AI, in a simple sense, is just another mathematical tool. It's nothing special in that sense, and we're using a lot of technology that... So I would love to see how we can take that feeling of threat away.
Yep.
And also maybe create some advertisement for sharing data. That I think is also really something that we require a lot. It's not done for various reasons. Hospitals don't like to do it because they are scared to be benchmarked. People with academic positions first want to get their paper out before they think about sharing their data. So there are many reasons not to share, but I think that it will... Our success in implementing AI will strongly depend on how much high quality data we are willing to share.
Yeah.
And for me, there's a parallel with, let's say, organ donorship, and like the whole question is like, are we not even obliged to share data? Like, is it real ownership? And that's an interesting discussion, probably too long for today. But I hope that this hackathon will give a positive effect on why we should do that and why we should provide high quality data. So also changing maybe the way we work in hospitals so that we can provide data that can really help developing algorithms.
Yeah.
That is for me a great thing to come out.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining.
And we have Pablo Botas from Foundation 29.
Hi guys, thank you for inviting me.
Hi.
Thank you for joining. So, could you give us a quick introduction?
Yes, of course. So, I'm Pablo Botas. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer of Foundation 29. Foundation 29 is a non-profit organization based on Spain, although we have quite an international scope. We work in the space of rare diseases, focusing on them and trying to help patients with rare diseases and their families achieve a diagnostic faster.
So what are the challenges regarding the rare diseases?
Well, rare diseases, for starters, it's a very large bucket. So you have, it depends on how you count them, but you have as many rare diseases as 12,000. It depends on if you count a specific rare disease as a specific mutation in a specific gene or just the whole gene. So they pose a very large problem. Combined, they affect a number of people around the globe that revolves between 300 million and 400 million. And to put that into perspective, although it's maybe not a fair comparison, but that's at least twice as much as COVID cases worldwide. So it's a very large problem. And the issue there is that diagnosing them is very, very challenging because of the expertise gap. You don't have as many physicians, especially first and second line physicians that know about a specific disease. And the clinical manifestations of them are complex. They are intertwined, meaning that a specific disease has a very similar clinical representation or phenotype to another disease, but the way you will treat both of them are completely different or even dangerous if you follow a treatment path as opposed to the other one. So facilitating diagnosis is vital. Currently it takes, for example, in the US around 7 years on average to provide a correct and accurate diagnosis for patients living with a rare disease, and that means basically children that have to wait many, many years to find an explanation for what they have.
Yeah, I also assume that data volume and variety is also a big problem to get for those rare diseases, right?
It's certainly a massive problem,
yeah.
But mainly because of anonymity. Patients are so special that you have to be careful there. I'm not saying that it doesn't have a solution. In fact, it's solvable, and I would say even easily solvable from a technical perspective. It's just something that it's hard to bring people to share this data. Having said this is a very special niche because of the high need of structuring and organizing this data. There have been organizations that have been working on this field, on organizing all the data around rare diseases in a very good way. There are mistakes, there are shortcomings in all these databases, but most of them are public and they are publicly shared. And you know what common symptoms each of, for example, 6,000 different diseases, what common symptoms those diseases have. And that's something that is not common in medicine. So basically, due to the necessity, they have become sort of the forefront of precision medicine, coupled with this phenotypic description to the genotypic investigation of each patient.
And what kind of expectations you have? What you would like to see from this hackathon? What kind of solutions?
So from a general perspective, I would like to see, of course, it would be good to have more data sharing, basically. That's an underlying thing that everyone has shared. From a more selfish perspective, and talking about rare diseases and what we do, we think we can really have an impact on patients because of the activities that we have in Foundation 29. I would love to have, as a result of this hackathon, something very specific. I just would love to have a better diagnostic algorithm based on clinical features, and we have that data to produce that algorithm. But the key is that we would like it to be basically not just another evolution of some algorithms that are out there, but something that we can say, okay, we can plug into this algorithm new features that we are going to be incorporating on data sets, as well as we would like to base this algorithm not just on description of individual diseases, but on descriptions of populations of patients of each of the diseases. Basically an algorithm that is flexible enough to accommodate for new data to come at the level of the patient.
Yep.
So that would be my wish list for this hackathon.
Sounds good.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you very much. And this brings us to the end of our panel discussion. We will just bring up one slide to share the link to the hackathon. Whoever is interested, aka I hope a lot of people watching are interested.
Yeah.
aks.ms/AI for Healthcare Hackathon. We will have follow-up stream in 1 week where we will deep dive into those challenges and talk more about them. Teams should apply on the webpage. Hackathon will take place from April 21st to May 15. During those 3 weeks, there will be 1 day per week where teams touch base with the mentors, can ask questions about data, how to solve the problems, follow up the next week and week afterwards, submit the solutions, and our judges will select the best ones.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, I'm impressed by all the competence tonight. I'm like almost in awe. Wow.
Yeah.
There are so many clever people, and I'm really happy that we are bringing this hackathon to the market. I'm almost saying that we are joining forces, because I think it's really important. And I think it's fantastic to hear how they all speak very passionate about collaboration, openness of data, and really doing this for the good of everyone.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
it's a fantastic opportunity to do something that is better for the world, basically.
Yeah.
So please join.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for tonight.
Thank
and
you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.